All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Anthony Volin, and I have been the LA chapter president of the Real Estate Alliance the last couple of years. And I'm super excited to be here today and to bring you this great education, Deconstructing Millennials. Millennials are set to be the #1 source of buyers that are going to be present in our market over the next several years. And it's going to be important for us to understand what they're looking for, how to get them on the path to homeownership, and what we could do to help them. LGBTQ, specifically homeownership rates, are still 16% below the national average. And one of the things that the Real Estate Alliance does is to help bring that up and to support homeownership. And we're hoping that the session today is going to give you guys some tools to help increase homeownership within our community and within all millennials. So I'm excited to announce I was just voted in as the 2023 National Vice President for the Real Estate Alliance. So you'll be seeing a lot of me moving forward. And it's just such an amazing organization, 60 chapters across the country, and so much great work that's happening. We have an amazing summit coming up in Washington, D.C. in April. So if you're someone who likes to advocate and meet with some of our electeds in D.C., as members, you have the opportunity to do that. So if anyone ever wants to do that or has questions, let me know and I'll let you know how all of that works. So here in Los Angeles, we have a new leadership team that I would love to introduce. We have co-presidents this year who are joining us. And actually, also some of our board members are here as well. Joe, you're here. Let me see if I could spotlight you. Joe, say something if you're here.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Joe. There's Joe.
Here he is.
So Joe is our membership director. If you're a member, you'll probably get a call from Joe just welcoming you and letting you know of our events that are coming up. So Joe, we're very grateful to have you. Anything you want to say?
No, just I look forward to this year, and I will be in touch with you as we need to remind you what's going on in case you miss any of our emails or texts. So, and if you have anyone that is interested in joining us, please reach out to me so that we can reach out to them.
Awesome. All right, and we have Jennifer, one of our co-presidents. Let me spotlight you. Welcome, Jennifer. Oh, you're still muted.
There we are. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jennifer Della Rosa. I am very excited to be next year's co-president of the Alliance. I've been with this group of fantastic people for quite a number of years, so I am happy to be a part of this transition and to see the growth this year, next year, being a part of it. We do host many fun networking mixers. We are going to be some things on the radar since things are slowly opening up. Hopefully we'll be putting together a buyer's home fair for the fall time frame, lunch and learns, different things. So just be on the lookout for that. And I look forward to seeing all of your friendly faces at our upcoming network mixers.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. And Jennifer's with Corner Escrow. She's a fabulous escrow officer. Again, our association is open to anyone that touches the real estate industry. So attorneys, designers, obviously realtors, it's open to everyone. So Jennifer is an ally and we're so proud to have you and thank you for all your support. And our other co-president, Dimitri.
Thank you, Anthony. Hi, everybody. My name is Dimitri Sava. I'm a real estate agent with the Collective, as some of you know. I am proud and excited to be part of this amazing board. I've been a member as well for a couple of years now, and I'm looking forward to bring education and all the tools that we need to eventually bring awareness and minimize the discrimination that our community, LGBTQ plus community, has in regards to leasing, renting, buying. As you may know, most of the country, half of the country, is still legal to discriminate against our community. So please join us, be a member of our board, Alliance. Our dues are $199 for the year, and you can find more information at realestatealliance.org.
Awesome. Thanks, Dimitri. Just posted the link in the chat. Would love all your support. And now let's get to our main program. Oh, just before we get started, just wanted to make everyone aware, save the date, March 2nd. We will be at Connie and Ted's. I hear a little echo somehow. March 2nd, we're going to be at Connie and Ted's from 5 to 7, and I'm going to give you a little more info on that at the end of our session. Let's see. Okay, is that better? Yeah, we got it. So we'll post the link for that in just a few minutes. Now I'd like to bring in Monica from Freddie Mac, who is going to talk to us a little bit about what they do and get right into deconstructing millennials.
Thank you, Anthony. It's an honor to be with all of you guys today. It's very exciting to see this growing chapter and this growing organization. I know that when National had reached out to us for a partnership in 2021, we were very excited here at Freddie Mac to partner and to reach this community in this organization. So we're very excited to be here today. My name is Monica LaCrue. I'm an affordable lending manager with Freddie Mac. I manage the relationship with the LGBTQ Alliance. So I'm here to be a resource for all of you guys as it relates to our affordable products, tools, and resources. I'm part of the real estate outreach team. So we work with other real estate companies, trade associations, and state and local NAR associations as well. And we are here to educate and reach real estate professionals about our products, tools, and resources. And so I'm honored to be here today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Freddie Mac, just to remind everybody who we are and how we make an impact in the housing economy as a whole. We are actually turned 52. So we've been around for a long time. We were chartered by Congress in 1970, and we were really brought on to keep money flowing to mortgage lenders in support of homeownership and rental housing. We operate on the secondary mortgage market, which means that we don't lend money directly to consumers. We're really designed to basically what we do is we buy the mortgages from our approved lenders. We pull those into securities and then sell those securities to investors worldwide. Our mission is to promote liquidity, stability, affordability, and equality in housing. And that mission rings true in good economic times and the bad. And we all saw that definitely through the COVID pandemic. And as we continue to cycle out of this pandemic and move on to new homeownership opportunities, we want to be here to support all of you guys as well. We have three main lines of business: single family, multifamily, and the capital markets. Both Yana and myself sit in the single family team, and we're definitely excited to be here today. So it's my honor to introduce Iana Davidovich. She is a director of market research here at Freddie Mac. She has a great presentation. We're going to dive into millennials. So Yana, go ahead, take it away.
Great. Can you guys hear me? Just checking. I'm assuming the answer is yes. Okay. Hello, everyone. Is that a yes? All right.
Hi, Yana.
Yes.
Can hear you.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. I have to check. All right, wonderful. Hello, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to be participating in this great event. I know this is important. We do want to bring as much insights as we can to the world of housing market, and we are, as I said, honored to be.
Yana, it is a little bit difficult to hear.
Is it really?
The mic needs to be closer.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to. Sorry, you probably could see my face closer. Is that better?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. Sorry, this is my new laptop, so I'm struggling with this one a bit. So still checking on the volume issues. All right. So as many of you are aware, we at Freddie Mac are really closely monitoring all the aspects of the housing market, whether it's the secondary market, as Monica described, or the primary market functions, such as real estate transactions and other factors. Sorry. And among other things, we also very closely monitoring factors that are impacting both the national supply and demand. We saw, as very dire need of more comprehensive and consistent view into some of the consumer segment information, and especially the largest consumer generation cohort in the United States. So as a result, we have assembled what we've called a Millennial Generation Playbook. This comprehensive research that we were able to develop, and actually you can find on our website, does cover quite a bit. So it covers a array of dimensions such as characteristics of the Generation Y, otherwise known as millennials, anything you can think of in terms of the dimensionality related to millennials. And here
Yana,
today, yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I think your screen stopped sharing. I do not see the screen anymore. I'm not sure if that's just on my end.
No, I think something went off and I saw some.
And also maybe try holding the mic a little closer.
I don't know how much closer I can. All right. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we see the title slide, Constructing a Generation, Deconstructing a Generation. Yeah.
All right. Can you hear me better?
Yes. If you want to, if you need to go off camera and
let me go off
closer
camera.
to your that might be a little bit.
Staring at my face, holding the microphone. Sorry.
I agree. Good. Thank you, Yana.
No worries. Bear with me. Let me figure out how to stop my video. All right. All right, we're all set. I'll continue holding my microphone. All right, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to cover in the next 45 or so minutes. So we'll examine of who millennials are and how they differ from prior generation in terms of diversity, life stage shifts, education, income, as well as consumption patterns. We'll also look at the impact millennials are making on the housing market and how we, the industry participants, can help to solve challenges this group of potential borrowers or existing borrowers is currently facing, as well as will face in the future. All right. Here are a few of the findings that we're able to uncover through this research. So millennials are the largest, most racially and ethnically diverse, most educated, better paid, and technology-savvy adult generation. Millennials' homeownership rates have accelerated over the past 5 years, but still lagging behind those of older generation. Many millennials are struggling to reach their American dreams, as many of you know, due to an array of challenges, including savings for down payments, student debt, lower financial literacy, and many other factors inclusive of low housing supply that is affordable. Despite the challenges, housing demand driven by millennials is picking up, and we will definitely cover that in more detail as we get to it. All right, with that, let's go into some of the detailed findings. So in this next section, we'll cover the defining characteristics of the millennials, and we'll also compare this particular cohort with an older generation. Let's start with a look into the population results. So millennials, population born between 1981 and 96, are arguably the most influential US generation the nation has seen since the baby boomers. In 2019, they have overtaken the baby boomers to become the largest population cohort at 71.2 million population count. That is about 22% of Americans. One interesting fact to consider, if you look carefully at the chart on the right, you can see that the group we call younger millennials, the first two bars, is larger in numbers than the group we call older millennials, the two bars on the right-hand side of that chart. What does that mean? It means that more millennials will be aging into life stages that drive desire to own a home, and as well as increased consumption of goods and services. Millennials make up the most racially and ethnically diverse adult generation in the United States. So according to 2019 census data, 45% of Generation Y, or millennials, attribute themselves to minorities. Moreover, the share of Hispanic millennials at 21% is almost double the share of Hispanic baby boomers at 11%. Millennials also hold the highest share of the Asian population at 8%, as you can see on the right-hand side chart. So there is certainly a view that diversity is most defining characteristic of this generation. and that in turn could impact future housing trends and demand, the type of demand, of course. So, for instance, according to Pew Research that had done some analysis of census data, both Hispanic and Asian populations are nearly twice as likely to live in multi-generational households than the whites. If this trend holds, and we will see additional, and as we see these minority subgroups aging into homeownership, we probably will see some shifts in terms of the type of demand for housing that we'll see in the marketplace. That's something to definitely think about it as an industry. One analysis also, our analysis also revealed that the millennials trail Generation X and baby boomers in percentage of marriages and population with children when they all were ages 23 to 38. At a marital rate of 44%, millennials are trailing behind both Gen Xers and the baby boomers. The difference across generations shows that these young adults sustain single longer, which is tied to various socioeconomic factors and choices that, of course, they make, and the career paths that they make, living arrangement, educational goals, and financial stability. As many of you know, two major life stage events that often lead to household formation and with that consequently to homeownership are marriage and having children across the board. So our analysis showed that delaying marriage or remaining single past the prime marital age bracket has depressed the generational homeownership rate across the board. Did you know that millennials are the most educated old generation? Well, you do, because I mentioned this initially, but 40% of them hold a bachelor degree or higher, compared with just 29% of Gen Xers and 28% of baby boomers when they were the same age. A more than 10 percentage point jump in higher education for millennials can somewhat be explained by the timing of the Great Recession. Older millennials came of age when the recession began back in 2007. As unemployment surged back then, many of them struggled to find jobs and chose to go back to college or continue past undergraduate degree to pursue an advanced degree. This increase in post-secondary schooling is certainly shaping the generation consumption behavior and, of course, the life choices along with that. And I wonder if also can be an indicator of what lays ahead when it comes to homeownership trends and choices that they make. And while nationwide, 40% of millennials have a bachelor degree or higher, their numbers do vary by region. The breakout by state and metro areas show that the higher population of millennials with bachelor or advanced degrees tend to reside in the Northeast or Mid-Atlantic areas. In fact, DC, where we reside, where I reside, as well as Monica, I'm assuming, right, has the highest share of educated millennials at 73%. Moving on to student debt. So the rise in student debt compared to other debt, such as credit card debt held by consumers, has been a hot topic in the media and election campaigns, which much debate over proposals of debt forgiveness. The debt levels for the young adult population is tied to rising tuition costs, as you know, and greater percentage of them having attended college. As of 2020, roughly 1/3 of the millennial population had student debt. The total dollar value of outstanding millennial student loan debt equated to nearly $501 billion, which is about 32% of all student debt in the United States. This equates to an average of $34,000 for each borrower. To think of it in other way, the average loan payment right now stands at about $393 per month, while the median student loan payment is about $222 per month. A study by JP Morgan found that the typical family median student loan payment is about 5.5% of take-home income, which certainly is a manageable amount or percentage if a person completed their education. Also, we're able to confirm that people with advanced degrees do carry larger debt, as you would expect. They also have a higher earning trajectory. Often student debt is seen as a deterrent to homeownership. We get a lot of questions related to to millennials and student debt. But while student debt might delay homeownership, and then we do see some of that, it is unlikely to derail it, as earning potential are significantly higher for those who pursue a complete education, as you could surely see on the right-hand side chart, the blue line that you see on the right-hand side. As we talk about earning potentials, let's next look at income. Millennials' median personal income surpassed those of prior generations when measured at the same age as today's millennials. Millennials' average personal median income in 2019 reached $68,000, which is higher than the total that of both Gen Xers at 63 and baby boomers at 53,000. Some of the potential reasons for the high income levels could include increased level of education, as we've mentioned before, as well as higher female labor force participation rate, as well as high female wages, more equal wages that we're starting to see, what we've been seeing. Moving on to millennial and labor force. The millennials make up about 36% of workforce, making them the largest generation in US labor force. 59 million of them were working or looking for work in 2020. A larger millennial generation is still in relatively early stages of their careers, which means that their impact on the workforce and the economy will be formidable in the future years. This is especially true because of their higher education credentials that we covered earlier. Another highly discussed topic we wanted to cover here is the gig economy. Since 2010, there has been a steady rise in the number of people participating in the gig economy, or the non-salary labor force. We define this particular sector as being made up of people who earn primary or supplemental income from freelance and other independent work arrangements, such as Uber, Lyft, and so on and so forth. McKinsey Global Institute estimates that the total number participating in the gig economy as of 2019 was 68 million people. This is a notable increase from 2011, reporting only 16 million people participating in that part of the economy. Experts expect that these numbers will continue to rise in the future. So an MBO report estimates that millennials make 38% of the gig economy workers, and I do think it's a bit underestimated. Without a doubt, recent COVID-19 development had put a bit of a damper into certain big gig economy sectors, but we're already starting to see improvement. And we'll anticipate the growth. So moving on to the next segment, millennials and housing. Let's start with the homeownership rate. Similar to other life stage stats, millennial homeownership is trailing behind older generation. It is tracking about 48% as of 2020, which is below the rates of older generations when they were the same age of 24 to 39. It is also below the national average of 66%. And that is driven by multiple factors, many of them we've discussed before. However, despite the challenges, the homeownership rate has been on the upward trajectory, as you can see on the right-hand side chart. We do see a significant bump that had took place between 2019 and 2020, a 5 percentage point increase in homeownership. This is the highest ramp up in homeownership rate this generation had seen thus far. So the main driver of the jump has been the COVID-19 pandemic, with factors such as record high savings rate, record low interest rates, fear of missing out, health safety concerns, all driving more millennials towards homeownership. While there's no optimal homeownership rate, we do expect a further influx of home buyers of this generation as they get older, advance in their careers, reach certain age milestone, and of course pay off their student debt, or partly. One other important subject to bring up when thinking about level of millennial homeownership is the historical variation in homeownership rate by race and ethnicity. Millennial generation, Hispanic and Latina, as well as African American back homeownership rates are substantially below those of non-Hispanic white states, as you can see in the chart. Taking into consideration this variation in rate, add to that the highest share of minorities within millennial generation than other older generation. The result is the overall lower millennial homeownership rate. Something for us to think about. Sure. Well, when it comes to millennials and home buying sentiment, here are a few interesting findings we're able to capture in one of our recent consumer studies. We found that 76% of millennials believe that the benefits of purchasing a house largely outweighs the risk. Many of us know that. We also found that remote work have increased millennials' desire to purchase a house and make it more affordable for some of us. Interestingly, but not surprisingly, 55% of millennials rely on their families for both financial and housing knowledge support. We also found that Asian and Hispanic families are more likely to provide that financial assistance than any other ethnicities. We also found that half of millennials express preference to use a financial app that can help automatically save for a home down payment. Certainly something market is picking up on and implementing these days. I do see quite a lot of ads related to that. One interesting finding that sort of prickled my ears is 25% of millennials are afraid of having a mortgage. There are a few factors that, of course, can play into that fear. One is high student debt for some or many, and another is an echo effect of the last Great Recession, when many millennial children saw their parents losing their homes and equity disappearing overnight. Let's move on to the homeownership barriers and challenges. Like most old Americans, millennials see homeownership as their primary financial goal, with the top motivators being wealth creation and a stable place to live and create family memories. But their path to homeownership today is covered with many challenges. As we said before, delayed marriage, financial challenges of racial and ethnic minorities, less financial security, and high debt, all contributing to a lower homeownership rate for millennials. On top of that, rising home prices and a record low inventory of affordable housing available for sale have also impeded homeownership. In fact, our recent study, same study that we just talked about, found that the biggest barriers millennials face when wanting to purchase a home are not having enough down payment, difficulty qualifying for a mortgage, as well as lack of knowledge about the process. Take a look at a few barriers in more detail. So a recent survey by Apartmentless found that nearly half of millennial renters who say they want to buy a home actually have no savings set aside for a down payment. That is a staggering number, in my view. Now, we might have seen some improvement during 2020, during the COVID, when savings rents went up. Many prospective home buyers still find saving for a down payment to be the biggest challenge they have to overcome. Numerous millennials have a skewed notion of the minimum down payment requirements to buy a home. One of Freddie Mac's studies revealed that nearly 42% of millennials are under the assumption that they are required to put 20% down payment on a home, or they were really not sure how much is required. So in reality, the median down payment back in 2019 was 12% for all home buyers and 6% for first-time home buyers. Just look at the 2020 numbers, they're fairly similar. So we're still looking at about 12% and 6%. So according to the census data, 47% of millennial first-time home buyers put down between 0 and 5% on a home, while 15% put down between 6 and 10%. This is where we, housing market professionals, can educate consumers on options and products that are available through Freddie Mac and across the industry. Interestingly enough, the other day I was actually watching a TikTok video of some guy talking about this particular subject. So I think they're finding their audiences. We'll see what the progress looks like, right? Yet another important consideration when mining homeownership is financial education or literacy. Well, despite the fact that high share of millennials having college degrees than any other older cohorts, they are less financially literate. According to a study by TIA Institute, only 16% of millennials could be considered financially literate, compared to 34% of adults assessed at the same age range in 2009. The same report also found that fintech usage, such as usage of mobile apps, when coupled with financial illiteracy, creates a greater tendency for poor money management, suggesting that the usage of fintech tools that we just covered is not a substitute for financial education, but a complement, something that we could use in pair. We see consumers today have more choices, more tools, more data, and more serious consequences from the financial decisions that they make. Well, we look for ways to expand homeownership opportunities to a larger share of millennials. Improvement in home borrower education is certainly imperative. Move on to home buying activity. As we previously mentioned, millennial impact on the housing market has been growing and will continue to grow into the next decade. As this massive age demographic continue to transition into life stages, it consequently pushes a surge in overall home buying demand and activity. Millennials' share of primary home purchase loans has been gradually increasing in the past 10 years and is projected to increase even further in the next decade. So for instance, in 2020, millennials accounted for more than half of purchase mortgages, 52% to be precise, that Freddie Mac bought. And based on our analysis of external data, our counterparts are seeing similar trends or even higher percentages. Next, let's take a look at the first-time home buyer activity. Freddie Mac 2020 acquisition data shows that millennial comprise an increasingly large share of first-time home buyers at 67%. The housing industry is certainly feeling the impact of millennials stepping into space. Our evaluation of first-time home buyer profile revealed that they are older and earn higher incomes than first-time home buyers even a decade ago. We are also seeing that the number of millennial first-time home buyers has increased even more as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, as many renters who have been postponing purchasing a home seek the security and stability of home ownership. I guess back in the day, no one wanted to ride in the same elevator when someone just sneezed in, right? All right, curiously, the 2020 ramp up in younger millennial cohort was more noticeable than the increase in the older millennial group. Another trend was worth noting is that the two large generational cohorts, baby boomers and millennials, are now competing for similar value properties, which in this current environment of bidding wars, a shortage of affordable inventory could be yet another deterrent for the first-time home buyers who have very little equity to play with during the bid. There are several hypotheses that might explain the recent trend of millennials and baby boomers going after similar price property. One is limited starter home inventory. We are seeing people stay in their homes longer, and therefore there's just not enough affordable houses to go around. We also seen that baby boomers are starting to downsize. Many of them are able to move into new construction homes or 55 plus communities, but others are just choosing smaller size homes. And considering the fact that they have all this equity on their hands, they're definitely more of an attractive buyer than someone with a low down payment options. A few more points around housing mortgage activity. First, despite the fact that millennials are more likely to live in urban centers than older generations, a high share of them tend to purchase homes in more affordable regions. And that sort of makes sense. We also wanted to note that the most active millennial home buyer markets back in 2020 were Houston, Chicago, Atlanta, Phoenix, and Washington, D.C. Texas was by far the leader, with 5 metropolitan areas making it to top 20 metro list. We spend a lot as a company. I just wanted to mention one more thing. As a company, we do spend a lot of time researching migration, especially recently. It's been a big factor, considering how it's been impacting home prices overall and regionally. We are definitely seeing a movement into sort of sand states, North Carolina, Florida, and we also are seeing sort of out migration from California due to the price points. As people are thinking of what is this, new normal looks like with the remote ability to work remote. Many are going to, purchase where they can afford. That's essentially what we're seeing. Well, that brings us to our last section of this presentation: homeownership challenges and recommendations. Despite being a diverse, tech-savvy, better-educated, higher-earning generation, it is struggling to reach the American dream, as we just discussed. There are formidable issues depressing millennial homeownership rates. In this next section, we're hoping to highlight a couple of those. Let's start with changing demographics. As we have mentioned previously, along with the higher population numbers, this generation brings higher than ever degree of racial and ethnic diversity to the United States population. The high share of minorities within this demographic is likely to lead to a reduced homeownership rate, as we discussed. How can we, as an industry, help to reduce the homeownership gap? Well, we are trying. I think we definitely seen some movement happening across the board, across the industry. Let's start with what Freddie is doing, and that is broadening educational resources, both in content and language availability, establishing new programs to address financial capabilities and mortgage solutions for communities, for minorities, and developing plans to further expand partnership with organizations that lead the way to bring greater equity in housing. There's way more that we're doing. I think some of our plan will be published, become public later this year. So do stay tuned on that. We also highlight a few options for the industry to consider, and that is to increase an outreach program, provide more targeted and effective financial education programs, as well as increase awareness and better customize down payment assistance programs. Yet another challenge we discussed earlier is low financial literacy, which is more common with millennials than any other older generation. This raises the question of why these educational offerings that are available out there haven't improved millennial financial literacy. Creating partnership across the housing industry ecosystem to strengthen the financial literacy of these young adults is certainly imperative. So what is Freddie Mac doing to address this issue? We offer educational resources such as updated Freddie Mac Credit Smart in multiple languages, educate homeowners, and help housing professionals guide consumers. Freddie Mac is also partnering across the housing ecosystem to help connect borrowers with valuable resources like our borrower help centers and housing counselors. We also list a few potential industry options to explore, such as creation of effective financial education apps aimed at tech-savvy millennials, increased outreach of housing professionals through class offerings in high school, colleges, and places of work. Lenders and real estate agents should continue connecting borrowers with housing counselors who can provide guidance and serve as a trusted advisors. Moving on to gig economy. As we discussed previously, millennials embrace the gig economy, and as a result, in the future, we'll see shifting dynamic of the labor market. In response to the shift, industry and policy changes are definitely necessary to simplify and streamline across access to credit and mortgage origination process for non-payroll workers. What we're currently doing at Freddie Mac is offering lender solutions for self-employed applicants that save on underwriting times, such as product advisor, asset and income modeler. We're still brainstorming and trying to understand the capacity and opportunities that lie ahead. So as I said before, please stay tuned with us, connect with us. Potential industry options to explore here: expand view of acceptable income streams, as well as creation of new innovative mortgage products. Definitely something that we need to think about. Yet another challenge that we brought up previously is down payment savings. So we did talk about that nearly half of millennial renters who say they want to buy a home have no savings set aside, right? While alternative down payment options do exist, the fact remains that the share of millennials with savings accounts is alarmingly low. Even with the current economic downturn, the housing industry needs to find ways to encourage savings and make sure millennials understand all the down payment options available to them. To solve for this, Freddie Mac is offering low down payment programs such as Freddie Mac Home Possible Mortgage and the Freddie Mac Home One, and also promoting down payment assistance programs to real estate professionals and other partners. Beyond Freddie, we highlighted potential industry options such as development of digital wallet tools, as well as down payment savings accounts with special interest rates or to matching deposits to a certain amount. Also, lenders need to be better educate potential borrowers about ways to source down payment assistance aside from savings, and increase awareness of customized down payment assistance programs. we are, as I've mentioned before, seeing a significant financial support coming from families. But as we discussed before, considering the growth in minority share, we see that in some instances, African American Black families are not able to provide the same financial supports as some of the other ethnicities can. So definitely something to consider. All right, last but not least, as we know, affordable housing shortages. Something that we talk about a lot, and our chief economist office talks a lot. I think they even have a series where they discuss this in great detail. Right, the shortage of affordable housing has hurt millennials more than any other segment of the home buyers. Freddie Mac estimates that there are more than 400,000 missing households headed by 25 to 34-year-olds. A limited supply of land, a shortage of skilled labor, and increased material costs are all, as well as shortages, as well as the supply interactions, are all contributing to high prices and rents. What can we do? At Freddie Mac, we offer loan options that promote renovations and energy efficiency improvement, like Green Choice and Choice Home mortgages, as well as Choice Renovation Financing. Freddie Mac offers manufactured housing choices as well. Potential industry options to explore would be accelerated housing construction and offering more affordable options to meet the demand. To make some of this happen, local government should consider, and some of them already starting to consider, relaxing excessive regulation and restrictive zoning policy. And let's not forget innovation of housing solution to create preserve affordable housing through vacant property conversions, educating developers on affordable housing options, share equity models, financing of new housing choices. Well, this concludes our presentation. And with that, I don't know if we have any time, but we are definitely ready to move on to Q&A part of the session.
Yes, thank you, Yana. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'm going to cover a couple of resources, Yana, if you want to switch to the resources while I cover those. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and then we can use the remaining time to kind of highlight any questions that you guys might have. Basically, our tools and resources are designed to help both you as a professional and your clients. They're free to you. Again, we don't sell anything. We can't market to your consumers. We're really here to be your partner. So the first is My Home. It's a consumer-facing website that provides answers to common questions related to home ownership. It has videos, infographics, quizzes that your buyers can use to gain knowledge about the home buying process. It's a great tool to use after an open house when following up with buyers who might have attended. Include this link in an email. They can go and kind of browse at their own leisure and without ads. Again, it's not branded. It's a great pressure-free place for them to go and explore. It's a great tool for you to use. Post the links on your social media. Remind your followers that you are the go-to when it comes time to buying a home. The website also has information about COVID-19 relief. It has information about refinancing, renting, to see if that's for them, or even selling a home. So definitely a great resource. The next one, Yana talked about, educating, financial education for millennials and kind of that gap that they have. And so we have a tool to address that. We have Credit Smart. Credit Smart actually went through a bit of a facelift last year. It's called Credit Smart Essentials now. There's 3 ways to utilize it. It's Essentials, where it's basically financial education for consumers. It talks about budgeting, retirement, savings, teaches people about how to purchase a home through the Credit Smart Homebuyer U. The Credit Smart Homebuyer U is actually homebuyer education. You guys might be familiar with products that require homebuyer education for those purchasing their first home. Credit Smart Homebuyer U is free for them, and they could do it online, very easy to use. And then we also have the Credit Smart Coach. So you as a professional can actually get certified to teach Credit Smart in your community. I just went through the cohort myself. Great information, great tools that you can utilize to help and educate home buyers. The next is our Reps Resource Center. Yana shared great information that her team is working on to continue to put out data and insights around this demographic and other areas that Freddie Mac is helping in the housing, industry. So subscribe to our resource center. What we send are data, insights. I am going to make this presentation available for you guys after the event today. And then in addition to that, links that will go through and highlight that playbook that you can download to share with those in your network as well who were not able to participate in here. Again, we don't market to your buyers. We really want to be a resource for you. And the last thing that I do want to mention, I know that you guys are in the LA market. You have a lot, we know that millennials are going to be more diverse. We have a lot of translated mortgage documents. We partner with our regulator, FHFA, and our sister company, Fannie Mae. We created a basically a repository of all of the in-language mortgage documents translated into Spanish, traditional Chinese, Vietnamese, Tigrian, and Tagalog languages. So if there's any buyers out there that need assistance in translating these are all available free for you and your buyers. So that is it. As we close out today, a reminder, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Thank you so much for participating. I want to be a resource. Please, Anthony, if you want to share your my contact information with your team. I hope to participate in some of your mixers throughout the year and hope to see you guys in person. Fingers crossed. I hope to be there in September, and I would love to engage with you guys on a local level as well. So I'm going to go to the chat really quick to see if there's any. You want the FHFA link? Absolutely. I'm going to drop that into the chat right now. The mortgage translation documents, I will drop that in. Does anybody have any questions, Anthony? I'm not sure if anybody has their hand raised.
There was one more from Joe. Does Freddie have any advertising programs to inform consumers that they don't need 20% down? Yeah.
Absolutely, definitely. So I think I can go. I don't know off the top of my head if there's anything that speaks to that, but that is a great takeaway. I'm pretty sure we would love to put something together, but absolutely, that is one of the largest myths that we have. I think the slide that Yana shared was that 42% think that they need 20 or they were unsure of the amount. But I mean, if you look at the numbers that she did share, I think it was 6% of first-time, or I think it was 6% of first-time millennial home buyers were showing that they only put down anywhere between 0 and 5%.
40,
so it's
yeah, 47%. Almost half of first-time millennial buyers put 0 to 5%. So the reality doesn't match what the myth is, and I think that's I took pictures of that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is a really powerful slide that we need to get out there, and it's a perfect thing to do a TikTok video on or to put on social media. And I mean, a lot of these slides have really, really great info. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, and that's where it is kind of connecting those dots, because the ones who are getting in the homes and only putting those 0 to 5% down are the ones that are probably working with professionals who have that knowledge base that are educating them to do that. So really, we need to be reaching out to those consumers who might not know, because they're not picking up the phone and calling you thinking that, oh, I'm here at night looking at Zillow, all these properties that I want, my dream home, but thinking it's 20% down. And so we definitely need to educate that. And that's a great takeaway. I will work on a piece for you guys to be able to dispel that myth, because I definitely think that it deserves a lot more attention for sure. Looks like you're looking for the Credit Smart Coach link. I will go ahead and drop that in as well.
Yeah, do you mind talking just for a minute about that, what that is?
Yeah, so Credit Smart has, I look at it in 3 buckets. The first is the Credit Smart Essentials, and that's the free education for consumers. Anybody can go online and take that education. And the link's not working for me here. Hold on one moment. Anybody can go online and take that education themselves. I went through it as I became a Credit Smart coach. And it basically taught them, the ins and outs of successful money management. It gave scenarios of people who might need to save for retirement, people for understanding taking on debt if they decide to go to college, different things like that. Then there's Credit Smart Homebuyer U, which walks them through the home buying process. There are home buying process modules within the Essentials program, but the Homebuyer U is basically, you get that certificate at the end. So if you're using Freddie Mac Home Possible, Freddie Mac Home One, or any other first-time home buyer product that needs education, that will meet the requirement to qualify for that. And then there's the Credit Smart Coach. And so it basically, you go through the essentials yourself, and then they give you tools to educate you so that you can go into your community and teach the essentials. So if you are basically having maybe your office or the Alliance is going to put together a home buyer fair, maybe somebody is there to teach essentials to the community. That way, if anybody might need a lecture hand holding to get them over that hump. There might be some millennials who don't know about that they need, they don't need 20% down. These types of tools will teach them those necessities that they need in order to make home ownership possible for them.
I think that's an amazing program. And, especially for realtors, I mean, I think everybody should go through that program themselves. And then if you're able to do that, what a great value add you're able to give to your clients and to put out there, and especially to attract millennials who don't have this knowledge. And I'm sure a lot of realtors who are out there may not have the knowledge either, and it'll just brush up your skills, and then challenge yourself, learn it, go through that program, and then bring that to to your database of people who are following you through social media. So I think that's a great thing, and I'm definitely going to check that out myself and encourage people that I know to get certified through that.
Yeah, sign up for our resource center. So again, I'll share the link as well in the chat right now. So if you go and you sign up, the next cohorts will be shared when they open up to start educating those on, let me do that, on the next cohorts for the Credit Smart Coach. So if you sign up, you'll be kind of the first people to get access about when the new dates are going to be coming for the next cohort. So a lot of great information. We want to be a resource for you. So please reach out if you guys have any additional questions that may come up as you start to digest some of this information. I know it was a lot to take in just an hour.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You guys did a great job, and we will have access to those slides so you guys can review that and use some of that information to get out there. We all understand that home ownership is like the #1 way to build wealth in our country. And it's our job as realtors and real estate professionals to get out there, to spread that word and to help people to get on that path to home ownership. And the first step, like they said today, is through education. People have to be educated and figure out what it's going to take to get on that path. That's #1. Second step is talking to their lender and figuring out how they can get pre-qualified and what their actual situation is going to look like. So this is step 1. And I challenge all of you guys to do more this year to get out there to encourage home ownership with the education piece. So maybe it's putting out a home buyer seminar, maybe it's getting certified as a coach, but do more of the education pieces, and especially through social media. It's great to see, that you closed a deal in a week and it was 100,000 over asking, but honestly, that's not really helping the homeownership process move forward. What's really going to help is letting people know that, hey, by the way, that's this person who I just got into a home, thought they had to buy for 20% down. They delayed for 2 years. I was able to convince them that they could do it for 10% down, and it sped up their opportunity to purchase a home. Or more stories about the real life things of how people are getting into homes and the work that you're doing and the education you're doing to get people into homes. Because it's not all about, I sold a house 100,000 over asking or in 3 days. That's not going to help our cause. So I challenge you guys to think about what you can do through social media and through your databases to improve our home ownership rates through our LGBT community. And like we said today, through millennials, that's the #1 buyer this year. So again, thank you guys for joining us this morning. I really, really hope that you'll come to our March 2nd mixer, and please spread the word. The RSVP link is now live. It was the same link as it was for this class, and it's realestatealliancela.org. You can text anyone that, you can RSVP through Eventbrite, realestatealliancela.org. It's free, it's open to everyone. If you do join as a member and you are a current member, we'll give you a few drink tickets for that event as well. This event is sponsored by Loan Depot. I know Carlos is on this call. I'm not sure if he's still here. You want to say anything, but Loan Depot will be there. Carlos Ortiz is an amazing partner as well. So we're gonna have tons of food. It's a great venue. It should be a beautiful evening, so save that date. And again, thank you guys so much for joining. I'll stay on if anyone wants to say anything or talk or ask questions about the Alliance or anything moving forward. But again, Yana and Monica, thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.